All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Fan and the Fanatic. This is season 2, episode 38. Can you believe that? It's been a long, crazy ride, but I really didn't think we would make it this far, but we're here. That's all that matters. But we got a little bit of a change up this week. The fan is not here again. He's missing another recording. Can you believe this guy? But he's on vacation right now, living it out in Japan. So I'm sure he's having fun, drinking some nice beer and, going to Disneyland, I saw. But, he's having fun. Let him take some time off this week and next week. But even with that, the show still has to go on. So you got the Fanatic this week and next week, holding it down for you guys. But we still got to talk about things going on. The NBA playoffs is in full effect with the conference finals matchups being set up. Major League Baseball is obviously still going on. The NFL also released the schedules for each team. So we're not going to go through that right now, but I'm just going to point out that my team, aka America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, 5-time Super Bowl champs, have 6 primetime games this upcoming season. And that's tied for the most in the league. You can only have so many, so Dallas always gets the maximum amount you can get. And all I'm saying is we're just such an amazing team to watch that people enjoy watching us on TV. So I encourage all of you, if you're not Dallas Cowboy fans, just watch them. They're just entertaining and they're going to be a fun team this year. But, last year when they released the schedule, we did a way too early record prediction, and I gotta say I was pretty spot on with my predictions. I was laughed at by my co-host who scoffed at my idea that Dallas would have a good record, and sure enough, they had another double-digit winning season. But we'll save that for when Greg comes back because we need to put him in his place again. And I'm feeling really confident again this year, but we'll hold off on that for a few weeks at least. But, to start off, we're obviously going to get into the NBA playoffs. And I will say we do have a couple guests coming on the show this week. So stay tuned for that. But before we get to our surprise guest this week, we're going to talk about the team that we have been following throughout this NBA season and especially this playoffs. The fans' favorite team in the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers, and also my favorite NBA player who happens to be on the Lakers, LeBron James. So the Lakers this past week, they beat the Golden State Warriors, the defending champs, in game 6. So they win the series 4-2 with a 122-101 victory in game 6, closing it out in LA. So that's the second straight series they've beat a team in 6 games. They steal game 1 on the road and then they protect home court throughout. But, this game 6 was really impressive, really, really impressive on the fact that the Lakers had the pressure, right? You're up 3-1 going on the road for game 5. You kind of expected Golden State to win that game. They did. No surprises there. But it was like, okay, you win game 5, but now you have to come back home to close it out because you're treating this as a game 7 in a sense because you don't want to go back to Golden State in the Chase Center with that crowd, that team, and have to fight for your life that way. You want to close it out at home. And the Lakers did exactly what they needed to do. And it really started before the game even tipped off. I think Darvin Ham deserves a lot of credit this series. I think he's really found a great knack for finding the right pieces to implement depending on the matchup. And in this game, he switched up the starting lineup. Jared Vanderbilt has been starting throughout these playoffs, but he's been struggling a little bit this series. This hasn't really been a series for him in a way. So they switch it up. They put him on the bench and they insert Dennis Schroeder into the starting lineup. And he has been a key piece to the reason why the Lakers have won this year, and especially in the playoffs. He's been the primary defender on Steph, but what he provides a little bit differently than Vanderbilt is obviously more offense, and that's huge. Because if you watch the previous games with Vanderbilt in the lineup, they're giving him the Ben Simmons treatment, the you could say Draymond Green treatment in a way, where it's like just leave him in the corner. If they pass it to him and he shoots it, so be it. We'll live with the results. But their guy, whoever is guarding Vanderbilt, is just camping in the paint. And with a team like the Lakers, you got LeBron, AD, guys who like to live in the paint. That's just more traffic for them. So with Schroeder being out there, you're forced to guard him. He's not a sniper by any means, but he's going to knock down open shots. He's going to make timely shots, and he can get a shot off the dribble on his own. So just that element, I think, opened up the lane a lot in this game, especially for the king himself, LeBron James. So I think in this game, LeBron kind of smelt blood. Jermichael Green kind of poked the bear again. I mean, I don't know what you're doing, Jermichael. I mean, did you really not learn from the previous round with Dylan Brooks that you just don't do that to a guy like that and give him any more motivation that he needs? But you got that situation. The Warriors also announced that Andrew Wiggins was dealing with an injury in his ribs, which is extremely, extremely painful. And for a guy like LeBron, who is a physical player, you kind of don't want that information to be leaked out in a way. So LeBron, from the start, was living in the paint, just efficient as it comes, 10 for 14 for the game. You know, he went to the line 11 times, which is just terrific. Finished with 30 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, was just outstanding. AD, you know, it's nice to see AD kind of putting together, you know, a streak of good games. It's always been, you know, a good game followed by a bad game, then a good game, then a bad game. But I would say the last, you know, 3 games at least, he's been pretty solid. Normally, it's the odd games that he plays well. The even games, he kind of takes off. But even this game, I know he only took 9 shots, but you could feel his presence. He was blocking shots, altering shots, and most importantly, getting those rebounds inside. So 20 points, 20 rebounds, that's going to do. And you could feel his presence in the game. But I think the story for the Lakers this game was definitely Austin Reeves. AR-15, he probably had the moment in the game that I thought almost changed the game in a way where it's at the end of the half. I think the Warriors are getting the last shot. I think it was Clay. Clay shoots up a shot. It's an air ball. DiVincenzo, who had a nice game for the Warriors, gets an offensive rebound. And it looks like an open layup, about to cut it to 3 or 4. And AD comes out of nowhere, blocks that shot. So that's already like, okay, wow, that's a good defensive stand. And Austin Reeves gets the rebound and just throws up a prayer from half court, and he knocks it down to hit the half court shot. So it was a 5-point swing there, taking a 10-point lead into the half. And with that momentum, it was just all day for the Lakers in the second half. I mean, they were just getting anything they wanted. But Austin Reeves, gotta give a lot of credit to this guy. He was an undrafted free agent, and you know he came in as a non-shooter, had to develop a shot, and now he's turned into a prolific 3-point shooter. You look at his stat line: 4 for 5 from 3. Obviously, that half-court shot. So you take that out, he's still 3 for 5. Or if he doesn't shoot it, 3 for 4. So you could see the improvement in his game. 7 for 12 from the field, 23 points, just outstanding stuff from Austin Reeves, and that's something that the Lakers need from him, D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder, those kind of second tier role players. They need guys like that to step up. And Lonnie Walker had a nice game off the bench, had a little spurt in the third quarter. I know game 4, Lonnie Walker, that's kind of his thing right now, but he had a nice spurt. And anytime you get production off the bench, that's huge. But going over to the Warriors, I think the size was a huge problem for them. AD was giving them problems in this game, and really the whole series as a whole. But just I look at the Warriors, they were just overmatched. And when your star, I always say this to everybody, to Greg, whoever it is, in the playoffs, you need your stars to show up. And Steph Curry was great for the most part this series, but he was pretty inefficient in game 6. 11 of 28 from the field, 4-14 from 3. That's he was making an impact and doing a lot. So I'm not gonna just roast him, but the inefficiency wasn't there. And Klay Thompson, a guy who I like, he's probably my favorite, you could say, Warrior, part of that core, part of this team. I just think he brings so much to the team and really makes this team, dangerous. I know it's Steph, but Klay Thompson rounds it out. But he was awful. He was pretty awful. 3 of 19, 2 for 12 from 3, just could not get it going. And if he can't get it going, the Warriors they're not championship contenders. And there's a lot of noise, with Draymond kind of saying, "Oh, this is not the end of the dynasty." But I don't know. Do I think the Warriors have another ring in them? Personally, I don't. I don't think they do, because I think Steph Curry. It's weird because I feel like Steph Curry is better now than he was 4 years ago. With the age, he's older, a lot of more mileage, but I just think his game is just off the charts right now in Steph Curry. But Klay Thompson just doesn't have that same quickness. He's not that lockdown perimeter defender that he was earlier in his career. There's a little more inconsistency with his shot, which is a little concerning because that's what he's known for. He's still a great player, don't get me wrong, but is he going to be an all-star in the future? I don't know. I can't really answer that. Draymond Green, he's a terrific player. Obviously, still outstanding defensively, but I feel like for the Warriors, if they're trying to win a championship, Draymond Green has to be, in a way, turn back the hand of time and get back to scoring 20 points a game pre-Kevin Durant. Because once Kevin Durant got there, he started going into more of a defensive-minded, pass first guy. Like, people forget in the finals in 2016 when they lost, the dude had 30 points in game 7 against the Cavs. He was a force offensively. And there's times where he doesn't shoot the ball and he's wide open. Defenses are giving him the Ben Simmons treatment, the Jared Vanderbilt treatment in a way, daring him to shoot. And sometimes he doesn't shoot. He can shoot it, but he just chooses not to. So I don't know how you can win like that if you're just clogging the lane, in a sense, for the defense. So the Warriors have a lot to figure out. Jordan Poole, he was kind of a bust this playoffs for them. I don't think you can have him and Draymond on the same team. So I think they need to make a decision there and also make a decision on a GM because Bob Myers' contract is up. But yeah, I would be a little concerned if I was the Warriors. Do I think they're just completely done? No, absolutely not. You have Steph Curry on your team. You're going to try to win. They're going to be a playoff team. As long as Steph Curry is playing at this level, they'll make the playoffs and make noise. But as far as championships, that's hard for me to say. I can't agree with Draymond on that one just yet. So the Warriors have a lot to figure out this year. Definitely got to get size and build up that muscle in the paint. You can't just have Kevon Looney in there and not use Kuminga and all these other guys. But Warriors got to figure that out. They got manhandled in the paint. But let's talk about one more thing real quick before we bring on our guest. So LeBron, let's go back to LeBron here. Kind of going to the Western Conference Finals here against the Nuggets. I think if LeBron wins this series, there's a lot of people saying that this would be his most impressive victory or finals run. I still wouldn't agree with that because LeBron is you could kind of see the balance of power shifting to where AD kind of controls the Lakers. Like the Lakers really do go as AD goes because LeBron's going to do his thing. But sometimes LeBron does his thing and they get blown out. But LeBron can have a okay game to his standards, let's say like a 20-point game. But if AD balls out, they'll crush teams. So it doesn't have that same feel. I always will say LeBron's most impressive playoff victory or finals run will be with Cleveland when he won the title in Cleveland. He was the guy and he controlled everything for the Cavs. That's how I see it as the most impressive. Not necessarily that he's the oldest now, but when was he the most dominant? And you could really feel the story behind it too. Winning a title for his hometown, coming back, beating a all-time great team, a 73-win team in the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. That's hard to beat. But LeBron, my guy, I gotta tip my hat to you. You are doing things that we have not seen before. And I'm praying that you can get 8 more wins this playoff run. But the Nuggets are going to be a handful. It's going to be all about AD and Jokic, right? That's kind of the marquee matchup, but it's going to take a full team effort. But I think you're going to have to use guys like Rui Hachimura more this series, Wenyen Gabriel. Even, I don't know, Mo Bamba, maybe dust off those shoes a little bit. You're going to need bigs in this series because Jokic is a problem. This is not the Warriors. We're not playing small ball here. You got to match some physicality inside with Jokic and Aaron Gordon. So I expect Rui, guys like that, they need to step up more in this series. You'll see more of Jared Vanderbilt, I think. So it's going to be a totally different game plan for Darvin Ham. He's going to have to figure out the rotations, but I guess my early gut feeling is I still think the Lakers win. I'm going to say Lakers in 7. But I feel like this series would not surprise me if the home team wins every game 1 through 6. Home team just wins. And in game 7, that's the game. Because I never bet against LeBron James in a winner-take-all game. I don't care who he's playing against. LeBron can, he's old. He's going to conserve energy, but for one game, give me LeBron James when all the marbles are pushed into the middle of the table. So I'm going to go with the Lakers in 7. Greg, if you're listening to this episode, I hope you like that pick for me. I know Logan, he's going to disagree on this because he picked the Nuggets, but I got the Lakers in 7 against the Nuggets. But anyway, let's take a break right here and we'll be right back with our next segment with our 2 surprise guests for this week. So stick around. All right, guys. Well, we are back from our little break here. And as I said earlier, we had 2 surprise guests coming on this show. And you guys know one of them. Logan is back, our main NBA analyst. But, we pulled in a surprise for this episode. We got I guess you could say our junior analyst in the NBA. But Matt, welcome to the show. This is your first episode after how many
Ah,
years?
It's
Woo!
it's only been like a year. I appreciate it. It's an honor to finally be invited by you. I know I had to
You
beg you to
know,
be on
I,
the podcast, so I
I
really
will
appreciate
say
you finally letting me join.
you were the first person we asked to be on the show, and you constantly said no. So the invite
Wow,
was always there.
the
I
disrespect.
remember. I remember. I have the receipts. But at least you're
Okay,
here
well,
now. That's all that matters.
all right, this might be my first and last one after that entrance, but yeah, I'm ready to go, man. I'm excited to go.
All right. But let's continue with the discussion of this episode. So we're obviously into the NBA playoffs. The conference semifinals have wrapped up. So let's kind of break down each of the matchups. So let's start with the Warriors and the Lakers. So the Lakers end up beating the Warriors in 6 games. They won game six, 122 to 101. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this game, or I should say this series, definitely caused a lot of questions involving the Warriors dynasty. And I previously said that I think that this is the end of the dynasty with this loss. What do you guys think about where the Warriors stand currently? Can they make another run in the future?
I think, of course, they can make another run. You just can't count out Steph, Clay, and Dre. They're still gonna be intact, or they're still gonna be on the roster next season altogether. And I think they'll have another run at the finals. And this is not the end of the dynasty. It's just they got a couple more years. This is just what did they call it? Sophomore slump, or you know what I mean? They just or they're coming off a hangover. That's what they say. So,
Finals
I
hangover.
yep. What do you think, Sakai?
I mean, I have to agree with Logan. I think the Warriors team is just too solid to ever count them out. I mean, they had their off games, and when they had their off games, it was pretty bad. Like game six, like obviously you saw their shooting percentage from three, like that just killed them. But I mean, overall, they're such a good team. I mean, you couldn't have seen them losing like game four, like a Lonnie Walker, like show out performance. Like obviously, like you don't see that coming in a series. So if their team is returning everyone next year, I think still have a good team, and then just got to develop Jordan Poole a little bit more, and I think should be all set from there. And they're gonna be back for sure.
Clay
That's
Thompson
interesting.
too was just like
Yeah.
trash.
Yeah,
Three
Klay
of
Thompson plays
19.
terrible.
Yeah,
Well, that's a good point that you brought up about Jordan
Hey, he never
Poole
lost his confidence. He never lost his confidence.
because speaking of Jordan Poole, I think the whole season kind of revolved around Jordan Poole and Draymond Green's kind of altercation in the preseason. So if you're the Warriors, I don't know if you can have both of them on the same team going into next season. So I think personally, I think one of them has to go. And I would probably get rid of Jordan Poole at this point if it was me, but I don't know what you guys think about that situation.
I mean, I think I agree with you right now. At the beginning of the season, obviously everyone's like, "Oh, they're very high on Poole. Like he had such a good season last year." But I mean, how he performed at the end of the season, his shooting, his shot decision making, like you can't really have that when you already have two of the greatest shooters of all time in Clay and Steph Curry with him. Like there's just no need for that versus like Draymond, who's like a glue guy and he's been with the dynasty from the start. I think you kind of have to keep him on. He's not going to give you like crazy stats, but he's always going to keep the team together. So that's why I think I value Draymond more as a player. And I'll pass it off to Logan. I want to hear what he has to say about that.
well said, man.
I like these transitions.
I
This is
just,
nice.
Maybe I'll be back, Matt. Maybe I'll be the new host next season.
but I just have to agree with everything that Sakai just said. That he just said that very well, and they're just so much experience with this team, and I don't know, you just like can't count them out.
All right. So it seems like you guys are in consensus that the Warriors are going to be back. But for now, they are in Cancun and the Lakers are moving on. But let's kind of shift to the Lakers uh, side of this. So the Lakers, they did make a little tweak in their starting lineup in game six. They benched Jared Vanderbilt and they started Dennis Schroeder. Now, I don't know if this is something that's going to be like a lineup going forward in their next series. But I think this was a huge reason why they won Game 6 in such a convincing manner. And I don't know about Jared Vanderbilt, but I think he might be potentially in the doghouse. I don't know, but I think Schroeder's game was the huge reason why they won this series. He was my X factor. So, did you guys have like an X factor for the Lakers of whether it was Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell? Was there a guy that stood out to you for the Lakers in this series?
I got to go with AR-15, man. He's just so young and being this good at that age is just very surprising. And it's just that level of toughness and youth that he brings to the team is like very valuable, especially for this very old and very star heavy roster. And it's just so good fit for the team ever since that he got entered into the starting lineup. He has just been excelling, and I hope he'll get a new uh nice big fat contract when it comes
The
time for
$20
free agency.
million contract.
Yeah,
Yeah,
80
baby.
million. Oh man, that's
That'd be
crazy.
nuts.
Maybe he
Yeah.
should go to the Blazers.
Ooh,
Throwing out these
Okay,
spicy.
no way.
No.
that's okay. We just need Dame. We just need Dame. We don't have to build. We
Exactly.
just have Dame.
All
What do
right,
you think,
Matt, you got
Sakai?
an X factor?
Um, okay, as someone who didn't watch too much playoff basketball this year, I mean, I feel like I have like the most basic answer in Lonnie Walker. You know, obviously huge role player coming off the bench, just scoring, kind of like being that spark for the team. I mean, obviously Austin Reeves kind of came out of nowhere like this whole season. Everyone's going crazy for him, but then Lonnie Walker, like I think single-handedly, obviously, like changed kind of game four, the ending with what 15 points in the fourth quarter. Like LeBron and AD were pretty much like not a factor in the fourth quarter, and then they could give it to Lonnie Walker off the bench just to heat up and to actually help them win that game. And I think in my mind, I thought the Warriors were going to win game four because I was like, oh, they're going to split the series. It'll be 2-2. I didn't think the Warriors are going to have a 3-1 lead, or the Lakers are going to have a 3-1 lead. So, like, for me, Lonnie Walker just coming in, playing that role, like, I was upset because I don't like the Lakers, but I was like, I got to give props to someone with, like, not expecting to play like that, but just to coming in, being hot, and just stepping up.
Yeah, I definitely think Lonnie Walker. The Lakers don't win this series without Lonnie Walker as well. I mean, the even in Game 6, I mean, it was a pretty quiet spurt, but he had a spurt in the third quarter that kept the lead afloat, kind of piggybacking off of Austin Reeves' big first half. So I would say all the answers are correct. Well, Schroeder got ejected, so he kind of didn't really contribute in the second half, but that's okay. He got under Draymond's skin, but.
I bet Lonnie Walker has a special place in your heart from a fellow Spur.
Yeah, that's even one of the reasons why I'm cheering for the Lakers. Obviously, I'm a LeBron guy, but Lonnie Walker representing Coach Pops and the Spurs. We're sitting in the lottery at this point every year, so at least somebody can get a ring from the Spurs potentially. Lonnie Walker,
We'll take the wins when we
go,
can.
go Spurs, go!
Yep.
All right, so let's move to the other Western Conference semifinals matchup. So Denver beats Phoenix in 6 games and really just smacked them in game 6. Second year in a row that Phoenix gets destroyed in an elimination game at home. And, there was always that news that Monty Williams could be fired. He is officially let go for the Suns. But I don't know, what did you guys think? Is that the right move to fire Monty Williams? Even though, yes, he did kind of choke, the season away, but he was the winningest coach, I believe, during his tenure in Phoenix. So it's hard to let someone go that kind of really built up the team. What are your guys' thoughts on the Monty Williams situation?
I mean, I think that's just kind of how the NBA is now with coaching. It's like you can have the best regular season, but that doesn't mean anything if you're getting blown out in a game 6. If you're getting like losing in the first round, like how the Bucks were, like if you lose in the second round like that. I mean, obviously the Suns, they didn't have Ayton, who I would think would have somewhat slowed down Jokic in that game 6. Might have been a little bit closer, but I just think the NBA is very much like if you aren't winning in the playoffs when it actually matters, no one cares what you did in the regular season. Like when the Warriors went 73-9, all you can say is they lost in the finals. That's the only thing that really matters on that season. No one remembers them as like, oh, that's the winningest regular season ever. So I just feel like that's how the coaching is now. And, I mean, it's hard because, you lost CP3, who is a really good player, maybe not in the playoffs, but a really good player overall and really good for that team. And, once Ayton was out for game 6, I kind of was like, oh, it's probably over at that point with having Jokic play against, I don't even know the Suns center for that game, but having Jokic match over that.
Jock
Like,
Landale.
Yep.
He used to be on the Spurs, I believe.
Well, that's why he did so
Wow.
terrible. All right, yep, that's why he was
I
so bad.
believe
That's why he
I believe he was on the Spurs. So
You only know Spurs history. Okay, all right, yeah, but I mean that's just, you can't compete with Jokic with a backup center in a game where you need to win to try to stay alive. Like there's just no chance.
all right, Logan, you got any spicy takes on this one?
I think they just have to consider the DeAndre Ayton angle, where they're putting all their money into this big contract long term for DeAndre Ayton, and there's just so much tension between Monty and Ayton, and you see it all on like House of Highlights, all like the bickering, like all the sass, the toxicity. I think it just kind of exploded at the very end. It's kind of unfortunate that it came to this ending, but that you got to consider that uh, was a big factor into why Monty just had to go. It just wasn't the fit, and they just want to keep the players happy because that's what you got to do in this sort of league. And to win a championship, you got to have the chemistry with everyone in the whole organization. What do you think, Matsuda?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I don't think you could keep Ayton and Monty Williams going into next year. So with that being said, since Monty Williams is gone, does that mean DeAndre Ayton is coming back to Phoenix and Chris Paul? Because I don't know if that team is going to be good enough to eventually get over the hump. And I say that because I don't trust Chris Paul's health. He's getting old. And I don't trust DeAndre Ayton's effort. I really don't. That dude is lazy. he's actually lazy. So can you reward a guy like that? I don't know. I would, if it was me, I would look to trade him, especially Ayton, because I think you could get value for Ayton because of his age. But Chris Paul might be stuck with him. You might be stuck with him. But I don't know. Would you guys trade DeAndre Ayton and just start over, start fresh, and just build around KD and Book?
I would have to say no, but I do think that they have to trade Chris Paul. I think a lot of teams would give a lot of draft picks and assets, such as other like star players, for Chris Paul, just because of his leadership and his ability to will teams to the playoffs and just win games in the regular season. And I think that Chris Paul's health has been very wishy-washy over the past years, and it's just not worth it for the type of money that you're spending for a player like him.
All right,
I think the opposite of Logan. Like I think they should trade Ayton and keep CP3. Um, I CP3
Ooh.
like he is older, which I mean, like you said, Matt, like he doesn't really have much trade value, but he is like a veteran leader in that locker room. Like obviously you have KD who has the experience of winning already, but like with CP3, you have like pretty much like a dog, like he's always gonna play hard. He's when he's healthy, and he's just such a good team player that I think he really complements KD and D Book well. And then like Ayton, like you said, right, that lack of effort, like he's young, right? So people still see the potential in him. So I feel like you have to sell him kind of high right now, while like he put up like decent numbers. I have him in fantasy, so that's the reason why I know his stats a little bit.
Mm.
But like he has that potential when he gives the effort, and I think you have to sell him on that, because if there's another season where everyone's questioning like, oh, does he really care? Is he really trying? Like his draft based trade value is just tanked already. So I feel like right now you kind of have to sell him high while you can.
Yeah, I like that take because I think the youth matters in trade value. So I would have to side with Sakai and that one. But
All right,
we'll talk
Logan, we
about the
want.
Nuggets. We'll talk about the Nuggets when we talk about the Western Conference Finals preview. So we'll move to the Eastern Conference, and we'll talk about the Knicks and the Heat. So I know Logan is obviously a little hyped about this one. The Heat are going back to
Let's go. Heat.
the
Let's
Eastern
go.
Conference
Heat.
Finals. They beat the Knicks in 6 games, and ooh, I don't know, Logan. Is this you told me off air you had something spicy? Is this the spicy take?
No, it's not.
No, it's not the spicy take.
No,
All right, all right.
no, it's for the other side, the other conference.
Okay, okay. But anyway, this was a very interesting series to me because in the first series the Heat played, Jimmy Butler literally carried them through Milwaukee. And in this series, he was kind of he struggled a little bit from the field. I think they were kind of keying on him, but I think the guy that stepped up in this round was Bam. So those two stars have been the key. But I'm going to give a guy that I think was huge in their success, and I think that's Kyle Lowry. He's old, but I love Kyle Lowry the way that he's fitting on this Heat team, coming off the bench, and he really acts as a quarterback of the team. Kind of controlling the offense. They really don't have that guy in the starting lineup that's a true point guard, and for Lowry to kind of come off the bench and settle things down, especially late in the game, I think that's huge for the Heat. So I guess we'll start with Logan since he's the Heat fan. What do you think about Kyle Lowry and his impact this season?
Yeah, he's just a true winner, and he just brings that sort of championship experience, all that, all that like good things that he brings to the team, such as on the defense end, he just gets so many charges, and he's able to just find all these small, annoying ways to like pester the other point guard, and it just works really well for the Heat culture in general. It just brings that sort of toughness to the team, and it's just like really inspiring. And I'm just so glad that he's on the team and we got him. Him he's been a huge reason why that they're having so much success this postseason. And I gotta give a shout out to your favorite Heat player, Duncan Robinson, who's been actually been shining through this playoffs in the absence of Tyler Hero. So that's been a huge reason why we've been able to spread the floor out. His ability to shoot threes and catch fire at moments was huge for this series, and it just was very hard for the Knicks defense to always have a man on him, even when he catches and shoot. He's just so quick with it. With his release, it's just insane. It's a beautiful to watch, and I gotta say, Jimmy has been playing like he's Jesus for Miami.
All right, so
He
Jimmy Butler is
He went to
Jesus
HBA
then.
too. He went to
basically
HBA too. Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler went to
He
HBA.
has
That's what I'm
Jesus in
saying.
him.
Basically, he's basically Michael Jordan's son. That's what they're saying.
I think my background is close. Okay, yeah. No, whatever you say. Logan.
Okay.
This is gonna be a debate in the next round. I can't even wait for that one. But
All
yeah,
right.
kind of going off of
Hit
what
me,
Logan said.
Butler.
I like what Logan was saying. I was thinking of Strus being that Tyler Hero replacement.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because you have another good shooter. I think he's a much better shot decision maker than Tyler Hero, who tries to force it a little bit too much. Strus takes what he can get, and Duncan Robinson's the same, right? Like he's not just gonna pull up like ridiculous threes. He's kind of like more methodical. He makes sure he kind of does like the Steph Curry approach for me. He runs around screens, he tries to get open, and he's just constantly moving. But I think Max Strus, he performed well in this series, and that's kind of the guy who I was watching. I was like, oh, like being a basketball casual, I was like, who is this guy? But he's doing really well. He's shooting well, and he's spreading out the floor. But with him and Duncan Robinson, like that's just creating a lot of space in the middle for Jimmy to start taking those mid-range jumpers.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like Duncan Robinson, but he just doesn't play defense. That's why I really can't get sold in on him. Gotta play defense.
You know our friend Blaze. You don't need to play defense to be good at basketball, apparently, according to him.
Well, we can talk about Blazes player in, the next segment. But before that, I want to talk about a Nick, Mr. Randle, Julius Randle. So how many postseasons in a row? I think this is the second postseason. He stunk it up. Do you think the Knicks need to trade him? Both of you guys can answer this one. I mean,
I think
I
so.
can't see it.
You, I, it's hard to say, but I think they do have to move away from him. I think RJ Barrett has also been given a lot more touches and given a given a lot of like a leadership role to the team, and I think he's been shining also as well as Randle at sometimes throughout this playoffs. But RJ Barrett has been pretty steady throughout these playoffs, leading to this playoff run that they had this postseason. What do you think, Sakai?
Ooh, yeah, for Julius Randle, oh man, he's a good player, but I don't think he's great, and that's like the main thing for like the Knicks. Like you have a pretty great guard in Jalen Brunson. Like obviously, in the playoffs he played that whole game. Like you got to give props to someone who does that, especially in the NBA right now. But I think Julius Randle's too hard to like try to build a team around him. Like it's a lot easier to build around Jalen Brunson versus like a Julius Randle to find players to fit their game, and also because he's a big man, so it's a bit harder to build around that. But I'm just not a fan. Like watching Randle, it's just not. I don't know. I don't explain it, but just not something I enjoy watching basketball. I'm kind of just like, oh, cool. This guy's in the NBA. He has stats, but like you're watching him, you're like, how is he doing so well? It's just, and that's me being a casual, right? I don't really watch Nick games, so like seeing him in the playoffs with him, I'm like,
Neither do I.
well, it's never on TV, so that's why.
And they're the East Coast.
True, true. All right. Well, I think that's enough of that defensive low scoring series, so we can get off of that one. But let's go to the last Western or Eastern Conference semifinals matchup. So this was probably one of the better ones on paper, the Celtics and the Sixers. This one goes 7, and the Celtics come back down 3-2, end up winning in 7, thanks to Matt's version of Jesus, I guess. Jason Tatum dropping 51 in game 7. But I want to focus this one specifically on two people. James Harden is the first one. James Harden, I have no words for this guy. I tried to buy into his hype starting in this series. He had a good start in game 1, and ever since then, maybe he had one game, I think it was game 4, but ever since then he has been stinking up the joint. Do you think this is it for Harden in Philly? Let's assume Doc Rivers gets fired. Let's assume Doc Rivers is gone. Is James Harden coming back?
I think James Harden is coming back. I think for next year, the core will look similar to this year's roster, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of change. I think they just got to run it back. It's just really unfortunate that Embiid had to deal with these nagging injuries for this last few games, and I think it all comes back to the regular season and how he pushed so hard for this MVP trophy. It just really puts a wear and tear on you, and it just pushes your body to another level sometimes. And then by the time it comes to the playoffs, you're a little bit gassed, and I think that's a little bit of what happened for this year's playoffs run for the Sixers. And I think that you will see Doc Rivers getting fired, and then he'll get replaced with I think a better coach, and who knows, they'll just make a finals run next year with a rookie head coach. I think it's very possible. This team is too talented to not make the finals. I think there's such a beautiful combo of Harden and Embiid. They're just a very tough matchup to guard. What do you think, Sakai?
I mean, I'm kind of hoping Harden leaves. Not gonna lie, hearing like the interview with Embiid saying, like we can't win with just me and James, and I was like, you have people like Tobias Harris, you have Tyrese Maxey, you have a really good lineup
And
around you,
PJ
and you
Tucker.
can't. yeah, PJ Tucker, great defender, but like you have a really solid team around you, and like you complaining about, Embiid just won MVP this year. Harden's a former MVP, and you're saying that's not enough to win. Like you're not going to get rid of Embiid, obviously, but I think trading Harden and trying to get like some younger assets, some more like well-rounded players that will one play defense and will try to feed Embiid and also feed the players around them that are so good. I think that would be better. I just think Harden's going to go back to the Rockets, like what was reported recently. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh shit.
He just
I
wants
heard
to
that report.
party in Houston. He just wants
Exactly.
to party
Well, I
in
mean,
Houston.
if not, he's going to go to Atlanta to go get some wings there. That's all. That's the only other place I can think of for him to match him.
Oh, jeez. All right, but
Wow.
okay, yeah, enough of James Harden. He doesn't play defense, so let's shift to previewing the conference finals. So in the West, we got the Nuggets and the Lakers. Now this one, let's talk about LeBron for a quick second. So everyone's kind of talking that LeBron, he's getting close. He's 8 wins away from another ring.
No.
Do you think if they win, would this be his best finals run?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I would have to say yes. Yeah, mainly because of how this team started and how the team ended up last year too. It's just unreal to see how they transformed this roster from the beginning of the season to the trade deadline and making this total flip of the switch. Like adding D'Angelo Russell, Vanderbilt, and every Rui Hachimura were just like huge pieces that are just so vital to this Lakers team right now. And I think that if LeBron wins this year's championship, I think it will be his best year out of
All right,
all of them.
Sakai, what do you think?
I mean, I feel about LeBron, but I have to agree with Logan. Like just seeing where this team was at the beginning of the year, all the doubters with their roster, right? Seeing what they did at the trade deadline, seeing what they did in the offseason, like building around LeBron, a better team for him. But the fact that just him and AD like are like the two stars that everyone knows, right? This is like probably the least star-studded team he's been on. And looking at all the role players that kind of step up with LeBron, but seeing LeBron lead that effort, seeing LeBron play like, most of the season, like just seeing that, I was like, I really respect this season out of him. I hope it doesn't end in the championship, but if he does get that ring, I will respect him, and then I'm ready for him to retire.
Oh,
And they would be the only 7th seed to win the championship too. That'd be insane
that's true. They would
record.
be the lowest seed. Well, actually, you got a 7 seed in the conference finals, and you got an 8 seed on the other side.
Yep, it'll
So
be
And
7-8.
I don't know.
they're both gonna lose in the conference final. That's crazy.
Nah,
Cinderella run's gonna end, man. Midnight already. That's what I'm saying. That's why, in my
not
opinion.
this year.
You guys
All
gotta
right,
get Scottie
so
Pippen Jr. some minutes, and then maybe they'll be better. Hey, we saw him in person. He was good. He was really good.
Yeah, we just gotta give Udonis
yeah,
Haslam some minutes, and then we'll be fine.
okay. Scottie Pippen schooling Javon McClanahan is not like going against D'Lo and LeBron. Let me just put that out there. So,
He just has to take on Jamal Murray, though. It's fine.
oh jeez.
Just a little bit taller than Javon. That's the only
Yes,
difference.
he's totally just like Javon. He can totally shut him down.
Yeah, easy.
All right, but that's a good point you brought up. So let's I want to hear this. So give me your guys' prediction on this series. Who wins, how many games, and who's gonna be the X factor for the winning team? What player?
I
Sakai, why
think.
don't okay, Logan, you
Oh,
can go
no,
first.
no, Sky, go. Go for it.
So I'm trying to look at players on the Nuggets real quick.
Oh,
So my pick, I have the Nuggets. I have the Nuggets winning in 6.
In 6. Oh,
In 6. I think it's gonna be a good series, but I think there's no way they stop Jokic. And you don't. I mean, you just need Jamal Murray to step up too. That's the main thing, because obviously those games where Jokic was carrying against the Suns, they still lost all those games. Obviously, you need to get Murray more involved. But I'd say the X factor for this series, Michael Porter Jr. If he can
I had a
just
feeling
play
you're
his
gonna say
role,
that.
well, he's like one of the few players I know. First of all, and then if he can play his role well, he will do so solid in the series. But he has like those Jordan Poole moments where I'm like, what are you doing? Like the pull up three, I was like, why? I was like, you don't need that right now. But if he plays within himself and the capability he has, like you can't stop Jokic, Murray, and Porter with his like AD and LeBron. Like you can't stop all three of them matched up wise. So And then I think it just kind of you just show why Jokic is like supposed to win the MVP, like why he's such a great player. And I think the Lakers don't really have anything to match with that. Sorry, Logan. I know it's complete opposite for this, so let's hear what
All
you're
right,
going to say.
Logan, let's hear your take.
I
Take your
am
pick.
picking Lakers in 6.
Oh, Stephen A. Okay, bold take right there.
Oh, wait. Logan. Let me just say that. Do you remember in the beginning when we did our playoff predictions that you said the Nuggets will come out of the West? Are you jumping off that bandwagon?
I am jumping off that bandwagon.
Oh, all right, all right.
Like, we've seen enough games of the Lakers, and they are just so playoff ready, and they're just hungry for this championship that they managed to look very impressive so far. And I think that they have the right pieces to match up against Nuggets, especially with that AD to the Jokic matchup. That'll be fun to watch. And what also will be like a key matchup for this series is Rui versus Aaron Gordon. That would be a huge matchup. As long as Rui can hold his own weight against Aaron Gordon and push him out of the paint, he brings this huge big toughness to the team whenever he's on defense, and I think that he can bang well with Aaron Gordon, and it's just will be one of the great conference finals to watch, and I'm excited to announce that I bought a ticket to Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals in Crypto.com
Like,
arena.
they might not even make it.
Are
What if
you
they don't make it, Logan?
serious?
I'm
Look, so you planned the whole trip without even
Okay,
know.
no,
I
wait.
planned the trip,
What if they don't
I
make it?
think-
Yeah.
I
What
think
if they
I
win
think
in
it- I
and
think
that
it
would
goes
be
to
very
five.
sad. And I'll
Look, I
get
think that's
refunded for
fair
my
assumption.
ticket. But
I think that's fair,
I
but yeah.
I bought the ticket a couple days ago, and I was like, "Fuck it, I need a vacation, and I want to go see LeBron beat the Nuggets in 6 games, and that would be nuts."
I think
That's
it's
why
pretty
I'm
cool. You're going
saying
to
Lakers
you're
in
going to LeBron's
6.
you're going to LeBron's last game ever. That's pretty cool.
No,
When they lose the conference finals and he retires.
Wait. So, holy, this caught me off. How much was the ticket, first off? And are you going by
I don't
yourself?
know if I want to announce that. I don't know. I'm
Was
kind of
it
embarrassed to say.
over 1,000?
Okay, it wasn't over
Guaranteed.
1,000.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
But
Not bad.
the tickets I bought aren't great. They're in like the 300 nosebleeds, like, but it was still pretty pricey compared to the games at the Moda Center.
Well, that's a different
Well,
group.
$10
That's why you're watching
tickets at the
Lakers.
Moda
Yeah.
Center.
Yeah.
No, even
But I
like
mean
the
that's like
playoffs. But like this is insane. Like
but that's like
I had to pay over $900 for for nosebleed tickets, row 11, diagonal angle. But
All
yeah,
right.
I'm set on going Memorial Day weekend. Just going for a trip, just
All
to
right.
relax.
I
that's
like that.
awesome. I mean, I like the confidence and I respect that because that's like one of the best experiences ever. A conference finals where you get to see LeBron, you get to see Jokic, get to see Michael Porter drop 40. Like that's gonna be really cool to see. So I'm very excited for you. And I'm definitely gonna text you when the Nuggets win in 6 and be like, wow, what a waste of money. Just watch that at home. But I mean cool experience, but like maybe go buy a Nuggets jersey after this game.
All right. Wow. That. I was not expecting that. So that's pretty cool. But I did say on the previous recording, Logan, that I think the Lakers are going to win, but I think they're going to win in 7. So I don't think you're going to see the closeout game. I think it's going to be Lakers in 7. But okay, we got about 5 minutes left. Let's try to get through the last conference final matchup, and then we'll take a quick break. So Heat and Celtics. I mean, it's the bubble reunion at this point. So why don't you guys give me same thing? Give me who wins the series, who's the X factor. I know Logan's answer, at least on. Actually, I think I know both your answers. At least who's gonna win.
I think you can assume who's gonna win in my background. Good job, Matt. Logan, would you like to go first? I feel like you're a lot more passionate about the Heat, so I'm excited to
Yeah, I
hear
think
this.
that the Heat will win in 7 games. It'll be a redemption game for Jimmy Butler at the Garden and it will be a great finals run for this redemption story. I think the Heat can right all their wrongs from last season and make it to the finals.
All right, so you got Heat Lakers in the finals again, the bubble finals.
Mhm.
All right,
And
Matt.
wow, I'm the complete opposite. I have Celtics in 7. I think me and Logan picked the exact same game numbers, just opposite teams for both of these. It's pretty crazy, but I have the Celtics in 7. Obviously, we have a guy coming off 5 quarters of just popping off right here, because that fourth quarter performance in Game 6, and he carried over to a 50-point game in Game 7. I'm like, how can you doubt that? But I think my X factor is gonna have to be Marcus Smart, because I love Marcus Smart as a player. Just kind of like a Kyle Lowry, but to me a lot more physical and a little bit better of a defender. And I hope he gets matched up with Jimmy Butler, because I want to see him just dogging Jimmy Butler, just making him upset. And obviously they're going to go back and forth, so I think that's going to be a really good matchup. And it's always fun to see Marcus Smart match up with a great player. I respect Jimmy Butler; he's a great player, but I think the Celtics team is just a little bit too loaded for them to stop. And I'm ready to see the Celtics win the whole championship after that.
All right. Okay, Matt's got Celtics and Nuggets. I'm gonna say it's Celtic. I think the Celtics win. I think Celtics in 6. I think they're better than last year's team, and I just think they're they're ready. They're ready. So,
Come
and
on.
I don't think the Heat are the same too when they played in the bubble. I think there's just something missing. I think Boston has kind of grown. Jason Tatum is that much older, that much more experienced. And like Matt said, he just dropped 50. So you got Jesus on the Celtics versus Jesus on the Heat. So I think I gotta pick the Celtics one on this one. Sorry, Logan.
Jimmy will find a way.
Jimmy will find a way.
Y'all are sleeping on Jimmy Butler.
All
It's
right.
okay. He'll find a way
Well,
to Cancun, that's for sure.
all right. Well, that was a good NBA playoff talk, but let's take a quick break and then we'll come right back and talk about the big news circling around the NBA, and then we'll end it with a quick game. So stick around.
Good.
Sorry.
All right, guys, we're back from our little 2-minute break, but we wanted to get back into the NBA talk because there was some big news involving one of the big NBA superstars. The point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant, made some pretty big headlines. He was suspended from all Memphis Grizzlies team basketball activities after another viral video of him showed up that he had a gun in his hand again. So, Ja, this is the second time. I don't know what's going on with you, man, but Logan, you wanted to talk about this, and so I'll give you the floor first. What is your thoughts on Ja Morant at this current state?
It's just very embarrassing to see him go through all of this off-court drama that he's like dealing with. It's just so unnecessary. And it's just like building this really negative narrative behind Ja Morant's image. And he has all the endorsements, he has all the deals from Nike to sports drinks to Jordan and all this. He's getting all these large contracts, and this past in time that he or no the first time that he pulled out a gun, he had to deal with over $500,000 he had to spend to deal with that whole issue and that whole drama. And now that he's done it again, he's gonna have to be suspended. How many? I don't know how many more games, but it's just so much money that just like is being moved around, and he he he's making it worse that they lost in the first round in the playoffs too. And Dylan Brooks isn't helping with all of the Grizzlies drama too. And it's just really exploding, and it's very unfortunate that this cursed franchise has to deal with this. And I just really am confused at why John Moran has to be such a dumbass and not learn from his mistakes. it's just so confusing, and he he might be the second best draft pick in his in his draft, and RJ Barrett might be the first because that's what uh Stephen A.
Stephen
Smith
A.
say.
Yep. Saw that on
He has a
YouTube too.
case. I don't know, man. We'll see what the repercussions will be for this uh terrible situation.
Yeah, Matt, what do you think about this whole situation with Ja?
I mean, I think Logan hit it. Like, you have to be, not to be mean, but you have to be really dumb for this to happen within a couple of months. This isn't like years later something surfaces. This is like a couple months ago he gets spotted in a club with a gun. He apologizes for that. He goes through like these like sensitivity trainings, and then literally they're out of the playoffs. It's what, second round's going on, and it happens again. Like, how are you not aware at all of, like, you saw what happened the first time, you saw the reaction, you saw the repercussions you got, and you were like, oh yeah, this will be fine. Like, no one will care if it happens again. And I think you have to look at it as, like, think about how many people looked up to him, like with his story, not being recruited out of high school, going to Murray State, like a small school, and moving up to the number 2 draft pick. Like, so many kids look up to him like, wow, look at Ja, look at where he came from. He started off like not being recruited, and now he's like an NBA All-Star. Like, he's the face of the Grizzlies, basically. Like, so many people were looking up to him, and the first time he did it, everyone makes mistakes. He got suspended for that. He said, I learned from this, but the fact that it's the exact same situation, you did the exact same thing, like, you have to be more aware. Like, you're famous, people know you, and the fact that he was like, I mean, it wasn't his story, it was his friend's story, and I have to say that friend is either the worst friend possible or one of the dumbest people ever for being like, oh yeah, and like, the whole job situation that happened before, and you still post something like that again. Like, I just think, like, it's just extremely disappointing to see him, because people are a big fan of his game. It's fun to watch him, he's exciting, but if you can't handle the pressure of being in the limelight, and you can't understand your role, like as a role model and someone people look up to, and like being a future like franchise player, right? Like a future face of the NBA, as KD said, like, you shouldn't be like doing things like this. And it shows a lot about, like, I don't know if it's just maturity level, but it just shows you like he's not thinking about like what the repercussions are, and he just has to be more like aware of that, being like such a big star. And yeah, it's just like extremely disappointing, and just one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Like, I saw the news on ESPN, like the notification, I was like, oh, this already happened. I was like, oh, it was again. And I was like,
So
there's
I
no
thought
way this
too.
is the exact same headline. I was like,
Same.
why are they bringing it back? And I was like, it's the exact same headline. I was like, what is he doing? Like, is he trying to get kicked out of the NBA? Like, is that what he's trying to do? Because it's like there's no explaining what can go through your mind where it's like, where that happens.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that you bring up, Matt, about his friends, kind of like, Josh surrounding himself with the right group of people. And the thing that I thought that was a little sad was kind of related to, I think it was his mom. I don't know if you guys heard this story, but they said that I think it was pretty recently, like Ja's mom was at like a mall or something, and she was shopping, and she got into it with the worker at the store. And then like she called Ja to tell him like, oh, like I'm having problems with this guy, like can you come down? So they said Ja came down in like 15 minutes with like 8 or 9 guys, like a full-on gang, and they like trapped the guy in a closet or like a room, and was basically like threatening him. Yeah. It was like, what? Like
Whoa.
Ja did that. Yeah.
I did not know that.
I
It's
heard that story today. They actually talked about it today on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon. So I was like, whoa, like I didn't know that was a thing. Like I thought it was just like his friends, but if it's like his mom is kind of, you know, instigating that, like I don't know. Why would you put Ja in that situation if you're his parent? Like he's already going through a lot right now. Like don't let him, come into a big spot like that. Like I just
then
think that's a bad judgment on his mom, and the people around him need to do a better job. I'm not saying like the friends, but I'm more saying like his true support system with his parents, his really close friends, family, the Grizzlies team, the organization. So I think it's more from that perspective. It's like, wow, they need to really gather around this guy and really make sure that he's not in situations like that. So I thought that was the one thing that was like Oof, that one kind of hit hard.
I think it's just crazy how much has come out recently about Ja, right? Like you never heard anything negative about him, and then these past couple months, there's just so many stories coming out about him. It's like, what flipped that switch is like what I'm wondering, right? Because like all these like the story you just told, these other things about like threatening like kids under
He
18, like
beat up a
where did
kid. Yeah,
yeah, like where is this coming from? Because like nothing like that ever happened. Well, at least that we know of, maybe, but nothing that was ever reported. And like, what changed? Where all this like is the NBA getting into his head? Like, is it different people he's having in his life now? And that's why it's always like, where is like the source of this? And that's what I was wondering when I saw the second story. I was like, there has to be something going on if this is like a repeating like pattern with him now, and like it wasn't like that before. So I don't know if he's just really good at hiding it before, but like he's been a star for a long time ever since he got drafted, right? So like, how did nothing else come out before? And like that's what just I just don't understand where this all came from.
it's the contract. He got the big payday, and that could just get to his head. I mean, some people they take it the wrong way, so I don't know. That could be an
The Kyler
issue.
Murray approach,
Yeah.
yeah, the Kyler Murray approach, yeah.
Well, at
You're,
least Kyler Murray is not like a Kyler Murray just doesn't study film. At least, he
well, he
doesn't
plays
get in.
Warzone. He plays Warzone. He focuses on that. So that's pretty
True.
impressive, man. Streaming all night, bro.
All right, but I want to ask one more thing before we get off of this topic. So Logan actually kind of brought this up, talking about Ja being the second best player in his draft class. So let's take let's go back to 2019. And if you guys have the number one pick, you have to draft between Zion, Ja, and RJ Barrett. But you know that everything that happened as of now, who would you take?
I'm might be kind of stupid. I'm taking Zion still number one. I'm still taking Zion, and then I'm taking RJ Barry two. I'm taking Ja three. I'm taking Zion one because even though he has played the least amount of games, he's still such a big name star. He's always voted an All Star. He doesn't even have to play that many games. He's still voted an All Star. He's so dominant when he's healthy. His body has changed a lot over the past couple of years, so I'm very impressed with how he does that. But he's too big of a star for you to be. I mean, granted, it's been like what 4 seasons where he hasn't really played, but I think you still look at it as like how dominant he's going to be and how dominant he can be. And he's still young. He's what 23, 24 probably. Like I still think you have to take that risk because especially if you're New Orleans, right? Like you're a smaller market team, you have to take that big name star that like could be like one of the greatest players of all time. And I think Zion still has that potential. And then I take RJ Barrett number two because, well, the whole Jaw thing, you have to drop Jaw. But RJ Barrett, I think he's a really solid player. Obviously he doesn't get as much love because he's on the Knicks. But if you look at his stats wise, like he's a well-rounded player. He's not like gonna amaze you with his skills, but he knows how to play his role. He can shoot, he can play defense, he rebounds really well for a guard. So I think he's number two. And then I think you take number three, Jaw at three, because you look at what has happened in these past couple months. You can't invest your whole future as a franchise into a player like that. Like you never want that to be the face of the franchise. Like you don't want that to be like, oh, this is when you think of Memphis, you think of Ja, right? Like you can't have this face of like him beating up people. Like that can't be your guy as a future, like as a first round pick. And yeah, so I definitely think that's my order. I think that's kind of a hot take. Still taking Zion one, but I have faith in him. Fifth year, first 4 years
I
he's
like
just
that.
resting. He's redshirting the first 4 years, so he's ready to play this next year.
He's rich. All right, that's fair. Logan, what do you think?
If we're only talking about those three players and not talking about like other players in that lottery, like Darius Garland, like we'll just stick to those
Stick
three
with those
players.
three. They were the
Yeah.
big
Yeah,
names
yeah.
coming
I
out.
don't know any other
Okay.
players in that draft, so yeah, stick with those three.
Cam Reddish.
Cam
Dude, he
Reddish.
sucks. Oh, he's on the Blazers.
Rui.
Rui. Oh,
I would have to say you'd pick John Morant three, of course, because this whole drama has been terrible for his image and for the organization. And it just has nothing to do with basketball, pretty much. And I would have to say I would pick Zion at two, not one. I think the best ability is availability, especially in the playoffs. Like you need to be healthy when it comes to playoffs because that's what the team is trying to get every year. That's what they're striving for the playoffs and get a championship. So if Zion cannot do that, then he doesn't have much value for the team. And that's why I would have to say RJ Barrett would have to be number one pick in that situation because he has been available. He's been there, but he hasn't been great. But has shown potential this last
No,
playoffs.
definitely solid player. And Zion would have came
Yep.
back if the Pelicans made the playoffs. He was just resting till the end of the season, but yeah, I know that's fair. I mean, I agree with that, Logan, but I still think I just would pick Zion because of the name and what you bring to that city, whatever team you join. But yeah, RJ Barrett,
Yeah,
solid.
I think it depends. Like I can see both cases being right. Whereas like maybe it depends. Like if you're the Knicks picking first, maybe you pick Zion for the money and the revenue. But to Logan's credit, if you're like, just a team, you just need bodies. You can't really go with any other answer except RJ because Zion is looking like the next Greg Oden at this point. So
He's played more games than that. Come
it's
on.
kind of sad. No, but it's kind
Yeah,
of
no,
Greg
yeah,
Oden
it's
was talented. He was a dude, but he just couldn't stay on the court. So yeah, it's tough. But I could see both cases being right.
well, Zion's
But
always in the food court, so that's one court he's in. I hope that clip
ah,
makes his
jeez.
Instagram story, Matt.
We'll see. We'll see. But okay, that's enough of the NBA talk. We can talk about NBA later. But let's end this pod with a game. I kind of wrote this up. It's not that hard. It's really simple. It's start, bench, and cut. There's three players. Just yeah, you guys know how this works. But I wrote it to where I think it would be best appropriate for each person, like specific to you guys. So the first two are pretty generic. It's NBA, and then the rest will go a little more out of the NBA. But you'll see. So we'll start with Logan. Logan, you get the first one. Start, bench, or cut. This is coaching. Coaches. Eric Spoelstra, Steve Kerr, and Greg Popovich.
Unbiased, unbiased.
Unbiased.
No, I want to hear
No,
it. I want to hear
yeah,
it.
yeah. You're talking to the
I
number
would
one Cowboys
start
fan.
Greg Popovich. I think he is a legend. He's been coaching for way too damn long, and he has the championships, and he's been able to be successful and build championship teams through multiple generations and with very different rosters, but it was mainly centered around Tim Duncan. He had to do with some part of their success, but I would have to bench our fellow University of Portland alumni
Spo.
Spoelstra,
Okay.
and then I would have to cut Steve Kerr because I don't know, he still has to prove that he can win without Steph Curry in order to be known as one of the all-time greats, I think.
All right. I like that. That was actually what I was thinking you were gonna say. So I'm glad you said Greg
Oh,
Popovich as just saying Greg Pop go Spurs go. Sorry, I had to say that again. All right, Matt, you get the next one. So this is podcast, basketball podcast.
oh,
I
okay,
was gonna say old man and a three, but I think that would have been a little too easy. So
okay.
that's out. We'll say the Draymond Green show, all the smoke, or podcast P with Paul George. I actually listened to
Uh,
his
I like this
podcast. It's
one.
not bad.
Yeah.
uh, um, okay. I mean, I'll have to start Draymond because I mean he's Draymond. He's entertaining. He's fun to watch. He always has good guests. So I'm always a fan of that. Um, Listen to a couple of them. He's an interesting guy, and it's fun to see his perspective from off the court because obviously his on court persona is very different, and he still has intensity, but like he's very different, and it's fun to see that side of him. Second one would probably be or bench would be all the smoke. I mean that's just a pretty hilarious podcast. Some of their guests, I'm just like watching them
I love
like
all the smoke.
it's just hilarious. Like listen to them. Like this is like you can listen to this like during the day, like all day. Like it's easy to just listen to, and even if you're not like a big NBA fan, like they'll talk about other things that aren't around basketball necessarily. So it's always like really entertaining to hear that. And then I would definitely cut Paul George because I just don't like. I'm not a huge Paul George fan, man.
It was pretty good. I listened to it a couple days ago. It's not bad.
Really, yeah, maybe we'll give him another shot. But
I think he just started though, so give him some slack.
okay, I'll get him sometime to get a better mic, get a better setup. Yeah, then I'm excited to see him. But yeah, I agree. The old man and the 3 definitely would have won by far.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. That's a consensus. All right. So Logan, you get the next one, but these next ones are not NBA related. This is just people. But it's based
intramural basketball.
it's
team.
based
Intramural
off of basketball talent. Basketball talent. That's how you're
Oh
grading it.
shit.
Okay.
Oh, I think I kind of know where it's going.
So Logan, this is your first. This is yours. Kelly Okubo, Shelby Arakawa, and Kristen Tamagawa.
Logan, don't go in the
Oh,
doghouse, Logan. You know who to
man.
start. You know who to start, Logan. Don't go in the doghouse today.
Oh, that's so tough. I think I would have to start Kristen Tamagawa.
Okay.
Unbiased.
Unbiased.
Smart man. Good answer.
All right.
I think mainly because she has
This is
collegiate
basketball yes.
experience for Pacific University D3 women's basketball. She played for a couple games for them until she got injured, but you can say that she's still a collegiate athlete. So I would have to start her, unbiased, and I would have to bench Kelly Kubo. I think I played with her a lot and I respect her a lot. She's really good at basketball, and she always can score the basketball when she tries, but most times she doesn't give a fuck and doesn't want to run. So
you hear that, Kelly? You got to put more.
Yeah, you hear that, Kelly?
You got to hustle.
She knows, and I would have to cut Shelby Arakawa. I'm sorry, Shelby, if you're watching this.
It's okay, Shelby. No hard feelings.
She's probably
no hard
probably
feelings.
not. She's probably not. Don't worry.
Yeah, she's not. All right.
You never know.
Yeah. All right, Sakai, you're next.
I'm very concerned about this with that question. Like, I kind of have is this our house?
You got Christian Ono, Tai Minatoya, and Hayato Kevin Falcon Kamata.
Oh, this is just
basketball only. This is
basketball skill, or like who I want to on my team. Like what? Like just this pure skill.
It's however you want it, but it's just based off how they play basketball.
Okay, well, I live with one of them. Played intramural the other, like high school basketball the other. Okay, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
I'll take that. That's a compliment to me.
I would start Christian.
Really?
Because I know Hayato's playing professional. Well, Christian, I just think he plays well and he knows how to play the game. Like, he's not crazy tall, he's not crazy athletic, but he just knows how to score. He can score from all levels. He's a really good team player, I think. And from like the few G League runs I went to, I saw him play, and I was like, I'm very impressed by how he plays overall. Even when we were younger, I was watching, I was like, he's pretty good. I'd have to bench Hayato because he cannot make free throws. If you can't make free throws, you can't play basketball. Like, I mean, he's playing professional. Props to him, but he can't make free throws. He was the worst free throw shooter on our intramural team.
True.
Like how? And he scored like 40 points a game. He would have had 60 if he could make free throws. But I mean, he's really
the
good.
Best and worst player.
Yeah, I know. That's why he was. Yeah, I think. I don't know if it's also because on our team we weren't really a team, so that's why I didn't get to see him really be like, I'm going to distribute. It was never an option because our team was not exactly filled with talent. So we're like, I think you can shoot every time you want. So I would probably have to bench him, and then fortunately my boy Ty. I'm sorry if you're listening to this, but I have to cut Ty because I mean he's a great point guard, but I think Christian and Hayato skill wise, like they're great players, and Ty's definitely like my favorite team player out of that group. I will give him that. Shout out to you, Ty, for being the best HBA point guard I know, but. Yeah, fortunately he's getting cut from this team, and better luck next year.
All right. Yeah, no hard feelings. This is all good fun. But Ty, I'll see you on the courts anyway. But all right, Logan, we'll go back to you on this one.
Oh no.
Greg Nagua and the two Mats.
You have to specify which. I think you know which match.
Oh,
7227. You
I think
gotta
you know who to start. I know who I would. I know who.
7227.
Can I say who I would start?
No. This is Logan's question.
Man, what a spot. I think I would have to start Matthew Sakai.
Go. The best Matt on his podcast.
Mainly because I played H4C with him, and we've been through some very tough times where we had 0 wins for a whole season for our
Oh,
team.
God.
And we've
Out
come a
after
long
every
way.
game, no matter what. We always went
Yeah,
out after
we
every
learned
game.
a lot through that season,
and we got better together. That's all that matters.
and we had fun. That's the main thing. So we have a lot of experience underneath our belt. So I'd give him the slight edge. It's a close
Slight
second,
edge.
though.
It is not close.
Slight edge.
It is not
And
close at
second,
all.
it's really a
If I
toss
played
up
basketball,
between
if I played basketball
Matsuda
more
and
than
Greg.
once a year, I would be better easily. Just I don't play basketball more than once a year.
We gotta play. You gotta
Okay.
show up, and we'll see who is the best. Anyways,
I'm not gonna go.
I would have to say, I would have to bench. Matt Matsuda, I think.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Greg, but
You don't have to
know.
explain. You don't have to explain the bench. Explain the cut. I want to hear this one. Just explain what the one person not on the podcast today.
The
Logan.
fan,
I love
the
you, Greg.
fan
I
is
love you, Greg.
cut.
You're attacking-
What?
it's because Greg is not here, so I don't have to
Good
deal with his
scapegoat.
reaction.
That's a good scapegoat. You're not getting invited
All
back on the podcast.
I know. I'm sorry, Greg.
All right. We got a couple more, but Sakai, this next one is for you. You got me,
Oh, cut.
Logan,
Okay.
and Lucas. Lucas,
Where did that come from? Oh, did I see that one coming?
Hope Lucas sees this.
I'll send it to him.
we'll show it to him.
Yeah, we'll show it to him. So exact. So like right now, or like when we play together, kind. Like when we play together.
Think about like
Like,
when we're in a team. You know
Yeah,
how like
like-
I'm a team player and like
How
I set
Lucas-
screens and
I
I'm
know,
How
like
okay.
Logan fouls
lot
every
of-
time he does offensive fouls.
Well, it's not his fault. His elbows are just like
Exactly.
always in your face.
Yeah.
That's not his fault. He's just tall. He can't control that. He's just like, I'm just
And
like,
how
"Oh, I got
Lucas
you."
has mean handles with that mean crossover that he thinks he has.
And then he
he's
can't
almost
It's a
like
tough
Jordan
one.
Poole.
No, Jordan Poole can make layups. He just can't make threes. Lucas can't make layups. Lucas just throws it up, and he's like, "Oh," and then he misses. So, okay. All right. Let me just start. I'm going. I guess I'll go with the Fanatic. I think he's plays
Uh-huh.
physical, and he plays physical down low, and obviously playing on an undersized intramural team, I respected that because I was like, "There's no way I'm playing low."
Oh, thank you.
That's your problem. I was like, I'm better on offense, so I'll just let you play low because I was like, I know I can contribute more on that end. So, and then I would have to go into Logan. Sorry, Logan, but I mean Logan's very tall, and he's gotten so much better from when we first started playing
Oh
basketball.
yeah.
Because
Dude,
like he
that
was
was
like
so
Kwame
trash.
Brown, not gonna lie,
That
Kwame
was so
Brown, like
bad.
where he couldn't really catch the ball.
I had
It
no
was kind of an issue.
confidence.
Yeah, but then now like
Yeah.
Logan, when he ran a G League, I was scared to play against one because he plays very serious and he's very like he can score down low. He's a good post player, but also because his elbows are so pointy. Like that shouldn't even be illegal. Like let's
It helps with offensive rebounding.
I noticed. That's why I don't even try to rebound when I see. I'm like, Logan got another. Logan's gonna double easy this game because I'm not gonna try. That's why. And then Logan plays physical, and I respect that. And Logan knows how to box out and play, and he's tall. Lucky
Yep.
you.
I learned from the best, Coach Jerry.
Woo, Fisto.
Hey, shout outs to Coach Derry on the podcast. Hope you're still coaching out there. You're the best coach. Tell the other team I play every time yelling. I respect that. Favorite coach ever.
Fisto and
sees it.
scramble. That's all you gotta do.
I mean, it works when you have good play. And then, I mean, obviously, you're gonna have to cut Lucas, the guy who can't make layups. He's very fast, but that doesn't matter if you can't make a layup and you can't really handle the ball very well or pass very well. I respect his trash talk game is very good. That's probably the best part of his game. It's not his actual game. It's just his trash talk is really good. Everything else about his game, I do not like watching.
So are you saying Lucas is Dylan Brooks?
Ooh. Oh.
No?
Nah, Dylan Brooks is still likable.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Oh, shit. Shots fired. All right.
Lucas, I hope you're listening,
I
bro.
thought that
I'll
was
ball
gonna
you
be
up next time.
harder. I honestly thought that was gonna be harder with Lucas.
It
but I
was. I
guess
mean, it's
not.
between you and Logan because you guys bring different stuff, like
No,
different
but I
types of
thought it
games to
was
the
gonna be
table.
like a 3. It seemed like it was between 2 people, and then just kind of threw Lucas
Oh
on the
yeah, no,
side.
yeah. Well, Lucas, I was laughing when you said that because I just didn't see that one coming. I thought you were gonna say someone that went to school with us or something.
All right. Okay, this is the last one. Last one of the pod. And both of you guys need to answer this one. But Logan has to go first on this one. But both of you guys have to answer. The three people are HBA Blaze, OSU Blaze, or Revacom Blaze.
Why Rembacom? Why don't you just say post grad?
Oh,
That's
dude.
wait, like as a person or in basketball still? As a
This is
person,
basketball only. This is not person. We already know the person is just yeah.
as
But
a person,
It's just
basketball
hard
HBA
to
only.
distinguish the two, like
Basketball
basketball
only.
and non-basketball
Blaze.
plays.
I'll be nice, Logan. I'll lead with the non-basketball Blaze. I'm going HBA Blaze number 1. The other two are just terrible. I don't. The other two are just bottom barrel. I'm like, no. HBA Blaze, nice kid. After that, I don't know. Mr.
I
Cooch, you gotta
honestly
talk to him.
did like HBA Blaze the best, maybe.
He was so
I don't
shy, and now
know,
he's like,
man.
he's not shy anymore as much. I'm like, whoa, Blaze,
I miss
changed
the
a lot.
old Blaze,
I
man.
don't know.
Remember
That
East
every day at
Coast
work.
Trip when we would bully him the whole time, pretty much with Josh
Cut this
Combo?
part out.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. Blaze did not like us on that trip, but he liked us a lot after, so it's okay.
yeah, exactly.
And now I'm
And
his favorite coworker.
I would have to say, but basketball wise, I think OSU Blaze. I think he played a lot of pickup back in his college days, and he had a lot of time to work out and get some muscle on. So I would start him first, and then bench. I would have to say current Blaze. Yeah, I played with him this past weekend. He was actually pretty good, but he airballed a couple of threes, but you couldn't tell because the wind was strong too. So, he still played good with the pick and roll with me, so I liked it. So he got in a lot better since his HBA days, so that's why I would have to cut HBA Blaze. But I love you, Blaze. I have
Okay.
fun playing with
Sakai,
him.
this is what I want to hear. Sakai,
So I'm gonna take in basketball skill and also personality on the court here. Into my answer. I would start OSU Blaze. I mean, I think he was pretty solid. He was
Oh,
playing
okay.
basketball all
Both
the
you guys are
time.
on down.
He started working out a little bit more. He was a little bit more physical. He could play well. He kind of passed the ball, especially to Greg that one time. He really threw the ball at Greg that one time. So that was always a funny story. But I think yes, OSU Blaze was solid. He was a good player. Considering his Blaze, yeah, decent player. And then bench, I would go HBA Blaze because he didn't have an eagle. And that's a big thing for a player that you want on your team is to not have a big eagle. Granted, he was the best shooter I've ever seen in practice in my life. Logan can attest to this. He was the
True.
best practice shooter.
Oh
Every
my
game he would
goodness.
throw a layup off the backboard like 40 miles an hour, and then he would just airball every three. But
So
practice,
bad.
he was lights out. He was the best shooter on our team in practice. But every game, we're like maybe just take a break, please. Actually get benched real quick. And then I would have to cut current Blaze, Rubicon Blaze as you refer to him, because when you play pickup with him, this guy is just a menace to society. The way he talks to people, like I'm like, you can't say stuff like that. Like that's a little like talking trash is one thing, but like I'm like, you're going too far here, like especially when you play with like people that maybe like I think there's like high school kids that he plays with, and I'm like, you shouldn't say some stuff like out loud like this. And then you see him and his dad, and then I'm like, this is not the version of Blaze I remember when he was a nice little kid in 4th grade when we became friends. So I was like, oh, I'm very disappointed in that. So he's definitely getting cut from my team because that's a toxic team member right there.
You changed, bro, Blaze.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Blaze, there's no you change.
Come
I'm
on.
so sad. We missed the old Blaze. Bring back the old Blaze. Nice kid. Quiet.
Well, I guess he needs to have fun on Saturday, for special occasion, but we'll leave it at that. But all right, that was a good pod. We'll take a break and then we'll come back with our baseball segment. So Logan, Matt, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure. We hope to see you both back on the show for future episodes, but thanks again for coming on. and we'll see you guys later. All right, so let's round out this pod with our usual baseball segment. So because Greg is not here, we don't have to talk about the Dodgers this week. We'll just give a quick brief rundown of the Yankees this past week. So they had a home series against the A's, home series against the Rays, playing the worst team in baseball, and then you transition to them playing the best team in baseball. So they sweep the Oakland A's, kind of what I expected. You got to beat up on the bad teams. Aaron Judge returned that series a little bit slow, but he got the bat going later in the series. The offense kind of got like a little practice round or a little confidence boost going into the series with Tampa. Nice to see the bats waking up. Bader stayed hot. Volpe was able to get a grand slam. He was slumping going into the series. I think he was like 2 for 26 in his last 26 at bats going into that grand slam. So good to see him get going. The Yankees, did what they had to do against a bad team. And, you go into the series with Tampa as the best team in baseball. They've been a juggernaut this year, and we end up getting a split, but could have been more. To be honest, we were close. Game 1 kind of got away with us at the end. Domingo Germán gave us a great effort, but the bullpen kind of unraveled. The game ended up being just an ugly loss, but Germán pitched well, which was a good sign to see. So we lose game 1. Game 2, we get a nice come from behind victory. We were down 6-0, end up coming back to win. So kind of, giving it back to Tampa after they beat us in the Trop when we were up 6-0. So kind of the tables turned there. But yeah, Aaron Judge had 2 home runs. Oh no, excuse me. Aaron Judge had 2 home runs in game 3. My apologies. But Anthony Rizzo on his bobblehead night in game 2 hits the go-ahead home run. So I don't know. Maybe it's the power of the bobbleheads. Yankees should just have bobblehead night every night for a position player, and then they're just gonna ball out. So maybe something to consider. Brian Cashman, guys like that. I don't know. Maybe that's just the thing that gets us going, wakes up the bats. But the Yankees win game 2, game 3. Aaron Judge has 2 home runs. We slug our way to a victory, and then game 4, we lose by 1. Aaron Judge nearly hits a home run to nearly tie it in the 9th. The Rays thought they ended up blowing the game, but Judge hits it to the track. Yankees lose. But, just to kind of wrap up that series, it was an interesting one because, you're playing the Rays and obviously they're ahead of you. You want to catch up. But we also have to be realistic here. And getting a split was probably the minimum that I was looking for and all Yankee fans should have been expecting against a really good team. But the concerns, Nestor. Something about Nestor, doesn't feel right this year. He's been pretty off the past few starts for him. Hasn't been able to finish games. He starts strong, through 4 innings. I think he has a sub-2 ERA, but after the 5th, it's double digits, which is totally un-Nestor-like in the past 2.5 years. So I don't know what's the issue here with Nestor. From what I look at it is it's location. Got to hit your spots. I think Nestor is leaving out too many pitches over the middle of the plate. And, to a guy like Yandy Diaz, who's probably going to be an all-star this year with the way he's playing, can't be doing that. These MLB hitters are too good. So you got to live on the corners. And, I want to see Nestor kind of go back to the way that he was pitching before, because he was kind of breaking into his own when he was kind of giving us all these funky deliveries, throwing off guys' timing. But in the starts that I've watched, I haven't seen that too much. So I don't know if guys are just kind of, timing his motion, just really locking in on the fastball and the cutter. So changing the delivery, getting back to the old Nestor. and trusting his fastball. I think that's just what it's got to be. Nestor, he's an all-star for a reason last year. So I'm not going to panic, but it is something that the Yankees need to address fast because we need all the help we can get at this point. Clark Schmidt pitched the 4th game. He's just a train wreck at this point. I mean, 4 2/3 innings, 7 runs. Hard to dig out of a deficit when your starters are consistently giving you bad outings. And it was tough. I don't think Clark should be in the rotation with our guys fully healthy. With that being said, Sevy should be back next week if everything goes to plan in AAA. Rodon probably still a month out. So you get those 2 guys. You got Cole, you got Nestor. Herman right now looks like starter number 5. And if he can keep his pitching ways up that he's doing right now, I like it. I'm all for that. And I think the Yankees on paper, I said this in the offseason, they have the best on paper rotation in the majors when they're healthy. And I fully stand by that. So if Herman can add to that piece, that's going to be a huge plus. But, we got to figure that starting pitching out because we need depth. But offensively, it was nice, really nice to see the Yankees get back to the ways that we're accustomed to seeing them, being the Bronx Bombers, mashing home runs. At least we lost, but it wasn't like we lost 2-0. I like to see a little bit of offense. At least we're losing 9-8 because I think the pitching we can fix with some reinforcements and health. But the offense, it's good to see with Judge coming back, Bader coming back. Pieces are starting to fall into place a little bit. So nice to see the offensive explosions. But with this AL East, we're still, as of Monday, we're still second to the last in the division. But if the season ends today, we would be in the playoffs. And as the Phillies showed us last year, if you get in, anything can happen. If you have a good rotation, you should be really confident. So Yankees are starting to gain some momentum this week. They're on the road. They're in Toronto. They won the first game of the series today. Jimmy Cordero started, kind of a change-up by Aaron Boone. He goes with Cordero as an opener. He's typically kind of a middle inning relief guy, but he goes 2 innings. And then Brito kind of, he was the starter technically, but he gets the bulk innings in the middle. Good start for him, honestly. Kind of tapered off at the end with some unlucky defensive miscues by Torres and even himself. But a 7-4 victory at Toronto you're going to take that as much as you can. Aaron Judge has 2 home runs today. He's got, 30 multi-home run games in his career and his second in his last 3 games, which is insane. He's the captain. He's the heartbeat of the team for the reason. So he carries us to this victory. And, if we can get a split, here and then we go to Cincinnati and we take that series, 3-game series, I'll be a little better. I feel a little better about this team. I'm starting to gain some momentum back. I was a little down last week, the last 2 weeks. So yeah, it's good to see the offense kind of get going a little bit. But for the Yankees, right? So let's shift over to another league, and there has been some speculations and some rumors out there for the OBL season this summer. So I'm talking about myself now. We're done with the Yankees, and I have had some interest with some teams out there, including No Clue, who I've been playing with for the past few years. But going through this summer transition, there has been some talk about possibly maybe trying something different this summer. And that is true. And I will be announcing that I will not be returning to No Clue for the summer. I will be playing summer ball for I don't have the hat right now, so I have this old jersey, which I was supposed to play this year. But I will be playing for second string baseball this summer. So the announcement that you've been waiting for, Jaden, here you go. I'll be playing for second string this summer. 1 year deal, 1 year deal. I'll say that. It's a 1 year deal. I'm not signing no long-term deal. 1 year deal for the summer, but I'm excited, kind of building off this AJA season that we had in the winter. But I'm excited. I'm excited to play for second string for the first time in how many years? I believe it's like 6, 7 years, Jaden. So congratulations. I have officially announced that I will be playing for second string this summer. But that's a little fun, exciting news for you guys. But as usual, we're always going to end the show with our sports fact of the day. And we're recording here on May 15th. And let's take it back to 2022, kind of an interesting stat where the Pittsburgh Pirates won a game 1-0 over the Cincinnati Reds last year. And here's the catch, they got no hit. So I don't think you're ever going to see a situation where a team loses a game and throws a no-hitter, but that happened 1 year ago today. But yep, that's all we got for this pod. We'll catch you back next week and get back into the NBA playoffs. So thanks guys for listening and have a good week.